Zona. Só falou, você acabou falou, não vai dar pra nós.
О, черт.
Широко, вытрите ему сами к полове. TikTok.
TikTok. Her секунд ты тоже у меня не смех.
Куда ты? Ты так сказал, что сюда.
Орзо. Видишь, как все чужнали.
Думаю, что я опал.
Абдулла? Абдулла? Looks nice. Hello, hello, hello. Up on the station? Can you hear me? All right, perfect. Hello, EQ, underline Sophia. Yo. We already got some guests.
Let them in.
All right, so topic of today.
For those who joined late.
Today we're going to explore something that frustrates almost every SEO specialist. We're looking good? Now around behind the scenes, is it good? Good? All right. As I was saying, today we're going to explore some things that frustrates every SEO specialist at some point. Pages that exist but never get indexed. What do we say about that? They exist, but they never get indexed.
Yeah, that's a serious problem, I would say, for all those pages that they said they get indexed or they don't get indexed.
They don't get
They don't get
indexed.
indexed.
They exist, but never get indexed.
Yeah, that's interesting, and that's happened in a lot of cases. We've seen that, we do that, we check that, and we aim to fix that as well. But we have Google Search Console, and we try to fix everything that is there as long as we check. First of all, we need to check Google Search Console to make sure we have this kind of problem. And one of the things that I do is just create a simple spreadsheet, Excel or even Google Sheet. Google Sheet is better because you can share with everyone on your team, and they can also check that if something else might pop up. But what's also important is that you can create that spreadsheet, very simple, check one by one what's going on. And by one is that you can copy the link, paste in Google Search Console, and check for if it's indexed. If you see that is not indexed, you can just submit to get indexed. And you go and check again in a few days. And if in a few days you still don't see that index, then you have a problem. You shouldn't just submit on over and over and over again. So that's red flag. You shouldn't do it, because you should never submit a page that either isn't indexed or it's already indexed and you haven't done any changes. So submitting to index is only when you have created a lot of changes in the site, or you can wait for the Google to crawl the site and see that there have been some changes in that specific URL. In that case, you submit for index. Not only Google Search Console, but Bing as well. You should do the same for Bing. Bing tends to be faster in this kind of indexing, but still you can index manually or submit index manually. And yeah, as I mentioned, don't skip this. It's very crucial. It's very important to see what's going on. And in those cases that few weeks have passed and still it's not indexed, then you have a very, very serious problem. I highly suggest to check the schema, check the content, add a little bit of content, add a video if you have to, add an image, try to make sure it's not same as different content there, because there is a lot of potential that perhaps it's very similar or the same or duplicate even worse as other pages. So this is something that you shouldn't skip.
I understand. Well, I was reading an article before we even started this. Google will start penalizing sites that mess with the browser's back button starting on June 15th, I think. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think those who were in SEO back in the days, we've seen this huge kind of, I would call black hat SEO. When people do that, you go into the site, you can just not go back anymore, or it takes minutes just to go back and switch to a different URL or a different competitor. So, and Google, I think it took forever to do this kind of update. Personally, we even tweeted or created a LinkedIn post about this, that needs to happen. We needs to do something in this specific case. When you go to the specific URL and you see that URL you want to go back, but then you just something pops up, you cannot go back and forth, try to click some button, and you just end up there. So this is a serious problem, and I'm happy that these days we've seen that. Because that was clearly black hat SEO, and now if that's your case, if user cannot go back in one click, you're gonna be in trouble. So fix that. If you're doing black hat SEO, stop doing it. You did it till now, so don't do it anymore, because you're gonna get flagged.
Be careful.
If you get flagged, you're gonna be in serious trouble. So that's why I say everyone who's doing that, because I've seen some cases, even as a user. So they want to keep the bounce rate low by keeping the users inside the website at any possible scenario. So that's not the case. You don't like the content, users should be able to go back. So if you're doing that, stop doing that, because you might get a penalty from that. You risk your whole site for this, I would say, stupid idea. So don't do it.
And
do we have any comments there that you're watching?
Maybe they have some questions too. Well,
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to ask
something?
you, what happens between the moment a page is published and the moment Google decides whether it exists or not?
You know, everybody's using AI to create content. Everybody using ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and these kind of things. But I say one thing, you should read your content that you're about to publish, because most of the content writer, most of the SEO, just don't read, they skip it. So don't skip it, read it. If it makes sense for you, fine, publish it. But make sure it makes sense. So later on it makes sense for Google to get that index and show that in SERP, and also for the users as well at the end of the day. So if they're going to read it, they're going to convert if you have a conversion button or a call to action button. So yeah, make sure your content, you read it, makes sense to that specific subject that you are talking. So you can able to rank higher and then be able to convert.
And how does Google first discover a new page on a website?
Google has several ways of discovering page, but everything still going back to Google Search Console. You can see that there and Google can check if your site is there. One of the things they can check is they crawl your site automatically, they crawl manually. They have millions of ways to do that, but we care of our own page if it gets indexed. And still, I don't wait for Google to crawl. I send a submit to them, to that specific URL, and I wait to Google give some feedback. If it's fine, it's going to get indexed, and if it gets indexed very fast after submitting, that means that Google likes it. And you're able to move to the next content. So this will already start to rank higher, and then you can monitor what's going on.
Could a page can thin or duplicate content stop indexing completely?
Yeah, we've seen that. We've seen that in many cases these days. People do programmatic SEO just without getting back to the content. I'm not against programmatic SEO. I do it sometimes with extreme caution. We've seen sites that they did 300 URLs in one day. They publish it, Google likes it, try to index, and index starts to showing up, and then bam, next day you see the traffic drop. None of the pages is indexed anymore, so you have a serious problem. That's why you can do that, but not in bulk like that. You find a template, you duplicate that, make sure the content is different. Going back to the basics, check the title tag, check the meta description, check the content inside, make sure it's different or differentiated before you put it live. Because Google will find out, changing one keyword. So it's not about SEO anymore. It's about, we've said that tons of times, so it's search everywhere optimization. And it's not only about trying to push one keyword. Now Google likes to push entity keywords, entity SEO, and so you need to have several pages that backs up the main pillar page. That's why you tell Google that we are the one that knows what's talking about. So let's say we have a service, we have a category, and you talk to similar this, but it has to be very different because you end up in different problem like keyword cannibalization and stuff, which is a huge problem later on. But yeah, programmatic SEO does the work. You can use cloud to create 300 pages using the same template, same footer, same header, and almost the same content, just changing one keyword. But that won't save you in the longer run. You need to fix that content while you are ahead.
So does content uniqueness play a role in Google's decision?
Definitely. I'm a fan of that word or that quote when they say content is king. So king needs to be unique,
King needs to be unique, yeah.
So that's it.
Could user behavior indirectly influence indexing over time?
I wouldn't say indexing, but I would say that can help that page rank because how I see in my mind, once you create a page, you submit to Google, Google will find out if it's okay to be indexed, and the moment that it gets indexed, then we have a user situation. So the user will decide if your content is good. And if your content is good, more users come up, then Google will try to push that page more often. So then you have a good keyword ranking improvement. So everything that you've done with that page, you can duplicate in a good way, I would say. Not duplicate the whole 100%, but duplicate in a good way and move to the next URL.
And can site speed or performance affect indexing probability?
Well, imagine you go to the site and it takes 16 seconds or 20 seconds to load. Would you stay on that site?
No.
So even Google doesn't like, even users doesn't like. Nobody will wait. Everybody's busy. Everybody's fast. We're living a fast life. So nobody will wait for you. So you better be fast. You better be fast. You better be live. You better be good because there's somebody out there that is working 24/7 to beat you. Remember that.
Yeah.
It's SEO.
And how does Google measure whether users are satisfied with the result?
By ranking you,
By ranking. Yeah, by ranking.
improve rankings, you're good. You're Google's favor. Don't do any black hat SEO. Don't try to, as I said, do bad things that you know by several algorithm updates that are forbidden, and you know it's not right. So don't do that.
And can a perfectly optimized page still fail if it doesn't match intent?
You know, in SEO, there are a million of cases. So there's no one bulletproof idea that helps everyone because it depends in which kind of industry you are. It's very, very crucial at this stage that SEO is in what kind of industry you're in. If you're a SaaS company like we, that's totally okay. You can pass some algorithm, but if you're in different industries like law firms, attorneys, and lawyers and this kind of stuff, that's very, very hard these days because of even laws, Google algorithm, like SB37, your money, your life algorithm, and these kind of things. But that's why you need to check for each of industry what is actually forbidden and what you shouldn't do. And then don't do that. Then see what is what your competitors that are ranking are doing. Because we've seen this kind of algorithm the moment they show up or just pop up, we've seen impact minutes after because you got hit. And if you got hit, there's some that's a case study. You know what's not working. Whatever you're doing right now is not working. Whatever you have done in the last 3 or to 6 or 12 months isn't working anymore. It used to do, but now it's not. So reverse engineer what you have done and see these kind of key factors that were helping you. They aren't anymore. Or even might be some things that you have ignored for the whole time. Now Google decided to put that as a hierarchy and you've been flagged. So fix those and you'll be fine.
And how do redirects or unbroken links influence crawl behavior?
It depends. Redirects can help you if done properly. Redirects can save the whole site because if there's no keyword cannibalization, the thing that we do daily, that not a lot of SEO gurus or SEO experts or SaaS SEO experts does it, is keyword cannibalization. It's a huge problem that I highly suggest you should check whatever you have out there. If you have the same keywords ranking everywhere, I've said it hundreds of times. I'm going to continue to say it because it's very important. So you should check that. Make sure what's going on with there. If you have flagged for the same content, same keyword, fix that. Make a redirect to the pillar page that is already gaining more traffic, more impression, more clicks, and so on. And then the 404 is something you shouldn't have unless it's super necessary. So nobody wants to go in a dead click, dead end. So it's better to make that proper redirect. If there's a page that no longer exists, you shouldn't just redirect to the home page. I've seen this. Okay, every page that isn't anymore is a 404 redirect to the home page. No, the home page doesn't explain everything that the site is about. If there are some specific cases, 1 or 2 you might find, but most of the 404 you shouldn't redirect to the home page. Never, because they don't serve a purpose. If a user is clicking what's the best idea to create content, and the homepage talks about me, so how am I going to solve the problem for the users? So don't do that. But in those cases, then you don't have similar cases like how to create content in 5 steps or the best way to create content in 2026 or similar, redirect to that. But if none exist, create one. It's better to create one, redirect to the new one. Then you somehow push. Because first, though that page might have some backlinks. And if that page have some backlinks, you redirect a new page, you push out authority directly. This is how you help a page very fast in a new early stages. So this is something you should do if we're talking about redirects in 404.
And I wanted to get in again, AI and SEO. You know, last time I asked you, is it an opportunity or a threat? You explained it to us, but we have more questions, and we wanted to ask you: can AI-generated content actually compete in search engines?
Yeah, why not? Everybody's using AI to create content these days. Even people, I do it. I create content, and I ask bot to create content. I create another bot or AI agent to double check what the first bot is doing, and I create another bot, the third bot, to analyze everything that the second bot is missing that can help us to move the needle for that specific keyword. So yeah, that's totally fine to use AI, but double check again, do cross checking, and do independent check-in, so you know what to expect. And also in those kind of content, add your competitors' content that are already ranking. And that's how you create a great content with using AI that can outperform those that were, let's say, 1 year or 2 years old already. Because now it's a huge time, like in Asian time 2 years ago in AI and LMS. So yeah, you should do that.
And how important is human input in AI-driven workflows?
It's super important. You should do that. Humans cannot be easy replaceable. If there's someone that has good knowledge on creating content, and especially if they know how to create content using AI and has knowledge in SEO, that's a great idea to have a look. As I said, human eye, human touch it a little bit. For the users, make sure what is the user intent, what they're seeking. Try to do that in the first paragraph. It's a human touch, and yeah, definitely that would be great.
And where does AI struggle the most in SEO workflows?
Well, people think that they can switch to AI for SEO experts. So at this stage, it's not going to happen. I've seen people do it. No, it's very dangerous to do. So don't do it. Why? Every time that you ask AI, doesn't matter which one, ChatGPT, LMS, Claude, so it will give you a very, very generic, good question. And if you're not SEO, you're going to copy that and paste or implement the idea. So you shouldn't do that. You should, even if you use Claude or ChatGPT, especially Claude these days, because we can help with automation some tasks as well, and even create content, make sure it publish it, even search, create cron jobs, so you can crawl whatever is going on with different tools. But we need to make sure that specific content is good looking, and so you can know what to expect.
How might search engines evolve to handle AI-generated pages?
Well, as I said, we don't have an algorithm that flags that. But if there's too generic, people don't like to be very, very generic. So if somebody's asking for a question like specific, as I mentioned, content creation for SEO blogs, or what's the best schema, they don't want to hear in 2025 or 2024 we had this schema, and now it's better to get optimized. No, we should say that this time of the year we have SaaS company, we have a law firm. If you have a law firm, use this kind of attorney or a law firm schema. So you need to be very specific with your content, and need to explain whatever is going on in that specific content.
And can I help with link building or outreaching effectively?
Well, personally, I haven't done that, but yeah, perhaps might at some case, some time. But I don't know personally. I haven't done it. If we're talking, you can create several bots, so the bot can find out emails, and the other bot can create an email to send it to. That might help, but I don't think you will attract good authority backlinks that are very relevant to your industry, that are good, as I said, good domain rating and so on, that can and will be able to move the needle for you. So I think that's supposed to be a very manual work at this stage. Personally, I seek for quality, not quantity, and still needs to work around that area.
Should we view AI as a shortcut or as a scaling tool for more effort?
Definitely a scaling tool, because it helps in many ways that we cannot even imagine. So I love it. I use daily, which every single task, but with caution, and I give my own comments about each of the area that we're working.
And I wanted to focus more again with content strategy and topical authority in SEO. What actually makes a content strategy effective in modern SEO?
Well, that's one thing that I do is I go dive into SEO audit regarding to everything that is out there at this point. So we've checked whatever you have done, whatever the page is, how many URLs you have, how many content is ranking, how many content gets clicks, how many content gets impression. That's what I need to do. If you can get impression, that's a good sign. If you can't get even impression and clicks, you have a serious problem. You might even aren't indexed. So that's something that you should check. And I do check in SEO audit. SEO audit needs to be very detailed. Yes, I use Claude and I use ChatGPT and I use both. I go back and forth. I use Screaming Frog. I use Ahrefs and SEMrush is possible. I extract everything that is crucial and important. I paste to the Claude and say this is important for me. Great. Regarding to these kind of pages, everything that is wrong and is not helping us is the content. Do we have an algorithm problems? Everything needs to go in SEO audit. Don't skip everything or you have problems later. People do SEO audit in 2 minutes. Sometimes for me it takes 2 or 3 or 4 days to do it. Like constantly do it. Because the moment that I do a clear, good SEO audit with a clear strategy, then you only have what needs to be work for that specific client. Not to work in bulk, not to work in templates. You cannot work in templates everywhere. Everybody likes that. I do like that. But you can't because the client will not see any results in 32 to 90 days. Then will quit. So you need to keep the client. The client will stay if you get results. And that's pretty normal to me.
And I wanted to ask you, how many pieces of content does a website need to build authority in one niche?
I wouldn't pick a number, but make sure you have a good quality content. Not just creating content for the sake of content, but make sure you try to talk to different subjects from time to time. Don't talk about similar contents and similar keywords at the early stages. If you have, let's say, 10 to 300 content of pages, you don't need to talk for the same subject. If you already have been over 300 blogs or pages, then yeah, that's something that you need to check again. At this stage, I'm a fan of optimizing and editing before creating new content. So people create content just for the sake of doing it. I'm not a fan of that. Create content if you have a good keyword, if you have a problem that you have solved and you have something to share, not just doing it.
So what defines high quality content in 2026?
We cannot say this or that, but yeah, we have a keyword, paste it on Google and see who's showing up first on your location. Then turn on the VPN, try to do it same manually. Then go back to Ahrefs and say, this is a keyword, this is a URL, who's the competitor? You'll see there who's doing better than you. Check what they do, what they have. First, the number of pages or the number of words that specific content has. How many images does it have? How many internal linking does it have? Check how many backlinks does it have? How many quality backlinks does it have? So, and then you have also check the schema, what kind of schema this specific service page or blog is using. And then do the reverse engineer for yourself and tell your Claude or your bot or your AI agent, yeah, this is the problem. Create better than this content. Yours is going to be fresh and definitely it'll be likely to suggest by other LMS as well and also from the Google.
And how does keyword cannibalization affect content strategy?
As I said, it affects a lot. And this is where most of SEO experts ignore it because they don't even check. Because it's very hard. SEMrush try to tell us a little bit about you have a keyword cannibalization for this specific URL, but doesn't give a clear data. Even Ahrefs it's very hard. In Screaming Frog, you can see in cannibalization, but that's a different story. So that's why we need to go in a Google Search Console, check one keyword, and then see if in one, I would say, keyword or in one word that you're using in SERP, you have different URLs, so you have more than one. You have this problem. So then you have to decide if you have 4 URLs, what to do with that. Because only one is getting few clicks and a lot of impression. The other are only getting impression, most likely. And you should decide to pick and redirect, make proper redirects there. So this is something that everybody ignores, and you shouldn't do it.
And is semantic SEO more important than exact keyword targeting now?
As I said, even programmatic SEO, semantic SEO, like geolocation SEO, they all matter in their own ways if you know how to do it. But don't look for shortcuts. You know, content is king, technical SEO is still king. You need to make focus. Everything is really looking good, 100%. Check the schema, check the robot.txt if you're blocking or allowing different things, and make sure you have good, fresh content. So you can create, you can continue.
All right. And thank you very much, Bertrand. We wouldn't like to
Thank you.
take more of your time.
No,
It
that's
was a
fine.
pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
it was a pleasure.